YouTube, this is Nite Misfortune back with another cast of Supreme Commander 2 Serpents Championship Series Season League 2, or League Season 2. Wow, okay, I mess up every intro I do. I have been looking so much forward to this game as I continue to mix up my sentences. Ever since Fox has taken the first spot very convincingly throughout the first, seven rounds of this season, I have been waiting for him to meet with his opponent today. That is Hope. Hope is just an absolutely amazing player. I think one of the best, if not the best player currently. It's just a very good matchup, and I just can't wait to dive into it. The first map is going to be on Treallach Island. Treallach Island is a very Aeon centered. As you can see here, it is picked quite a bit actually, not banned that much. 40% of the time picked, 18% of the time banned. I think a lot of these maps have been very evenly banned this season, and I think that's a really good indicative thing. The unfortunate thing is that, all of these are air maps, so you can't just compose a tournament all of air maps. So unfortunately, I think if it was an actual tournament, a lot of these maps would be the first to go. But regardless, we have 18%, 19% for both Cybran and UEF on this map. And we have 44% for Aeon and 12% for random. The win percentages is absolutely very, very bad. Aeon 100% win rate, and everybody else is below 20%. So that is very, very poor. And I think both of these players have picked Aeon, so that shouldn't be a factor in this match. So I'm very, very excited. After the last match I've cast, my hopes, no pun intended, are very high for this game. So let's go ahead, without further ado, jump into this incredible, or I hope to be incredible match. So pause at 5 seconds, game speed 0 to start out with. Let's go ahead and press play in 3, 2, 1, go. Let's introduce, beginning with the top right. We have our current leader in the league table. Let's see if he can hold on to that lead in this game. It is our white Aeon commander with the name of FoxTermelon. Very, very impressive. Very, very impressive. He has, of course, been known to play under the name of Chaos also, and he was in the top 16, or was it top 8? Top 8 of the Serpents Open Winter 2019. This is his first league season. So he is poised to get quite a bit of points from this one, and probably be in the forefront of contenders to qualify for the Serpents Open, or Serpents Invitational rather. His opponent, though, standing in front of him in that dream, is our red Aeon commander with the name of Hope. And Hope is just, of course, known much, much better for his Cybran play. But in this case, he's playing Aeon. He knows very well what he needs to do on a certain map. So that is, his choice is obviously Cybran. That's not going to deter him from choosing the right option, which in this case is certainly Aeon on this map. Also, well, actually, no, he is starting with a land factory. Meanwhile, FoxTermelon's scout is coming in here. I'm going to see exactly what he's up against, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Hope starting to push out here. Let's go ahead and increase the game speed to 3 here. First scout is going to come back unharmed for FoxTermelon. FoxTermelon, of course, realizing the threat of the incoming rush. Well, I wouldn't call it necessarily a rush because of this research station, but because there's air on the field, it will be a rush. And he's going to plop down eventually a land factory. Unfortunately, I think I would have prioritized the land factory in this case, because your opponent is going to land factories with a research station, so it is very important to at least catch up to your opponent somehow in a research or land units. So we'll see here. Meanwhile, Harvogs are making their way off the line, which is a very natural progression in this game. There's an anti-air upgrade on one of these factories, which is going to push FoxTermelon back, and Hope manages to save this mass extractor and is indeed going to push out at least a little bit in the front of those hard rocks. Do manage to get that anti-air upgrade, and that's once again is going to push FoxTermelon out of this area. And this is what I have been talking this whole season. Look at the constant movement from FoxTermelon over here. Even despite all of this anti-air, actually that's when you want to move your air the most, is when you have your opponent is building a lot of anti-air. You want to make that count. You don't want to just stop your air production. Well, unless it's a very tactical choice, then yes, I think it's explainable. But look at that. Couple of passes, this is going to go down, and there's no anti-air here, so that is very interesting. Meanwhile, Hope is pushing out. There's again multiple battlefields here. FoxTermelon is pulling back his air to try and compensate for that. The ACU for Hope is also making his way towards the front. There's a third land factory that's making its way up, being built by the engineer, of course, a little bit slowly. And there's those missile launchers indicative of the push that is going to come very, very quickly. Hope does queue up that third air factory, or sorry, land factory, while that radar is going to get picked off. But I think he's going to lose a plane. Nope, he's not. FoxTermelon, just amazing movement, amazing engagements here. Exactly how you want to engage. He kind of went on the cusp of that anti-air and forcing Hope to rebuild that radar. And I think he can actually get it again, although there's probably going to be a shield generator. Yep, first up is the shield generator, of course. Meanwhile, our friend FoxTermelon is managing to get up 3 of land factories, and that is going to let him kind of in a nice concave here too. Unfortunately, there is no, of course, artillery to help him out with these with this choke point, but nevertheless, it is a very, very good idea here. And oh, interesting. I think he was teasing me with the electroshock wall, I think, right there. That would have been very interesting. Bada Booms also making their way out, indicative, of course, of a teleport intent. And which is not surprising at all. I don't know about pushing out or putting this. Yeah, that's not a good idea, because he's seen the mobile missile launchers at this point. That's just not a good idea to push out with like that. The one thing that is going very well for FoxTermelon is that he is expanding quite nicely here, and he might actually be wanting to try and push out this game, because he is a little bit behind. There is a PD for Hope. I think he realizes that his opponent does not have mobile missile launchers. That is one fault of FoxTermelon's army here, and this is just a very random engagement for FoxTermelon, something that I have not seen him do before. It's just very sloppy in my opinion. That ACU was not in position to protect his units, and this is yeah, the air is going down, although it does get a few bombing runs. There is shields, so that's the difference between these two players. Hope does end up going shields on his units, and that is going to help him protect against this air. Now this air is kind of melting away, Fox. You really need to use that to at least bombard. I'm pretty sure you see this at this point on your radar, and bombard this engineer before he has the chance to really do anything there. I guess he hasn't seen it yet. That anti-air tower should help, but I don't think it's going to stop that amount of air over there. There is a fifth land factory coming down for Hope. Well, actually, his fifth one got destroyed, but ooh, very nice. Oh no, both of those PDs are just out of range of that shield. That is very unfortunate. Now FoxTermelon sees that expansion over here, and it will be curious to see how he is going to respond to that. He does finally decide to go mobile missile launchers of his own, and this is very, very positional at this point, a very positional fight. And one thing that I will say is Hope is not utilizing his mobile missile launchers at all, while FoxTermelon is definitely doing a very good job with that. His missile launchers have been utilized very, very well. He's managed to take out a land factory, a radar, a mass extractor, 2 actually land factories, and a PD. So that's a lot of mass that and look at that targeting. Holy crap, Fox. Amazing, amazing targeting, exactly what you need. Unfortunately, it is so difficult for you to fight shields in this case, especially when they have shields, and especially when they blob like that, rather. It's just so difficult to push into, but he's making it work. How the heck is he making it work here? 1900. Actually, he might have a couple of stars, which might actually be very, very good. It looks like there was a sack cap there on the engineer, and oh my goodness, FoxTermelon is making Hope work for it. Wow. churning around the land fight. Out of nowhere, seemingly, FoxTermelon is now on the upper hand. Failing not to use his mobile missile launchers is going to prove very, very fatal. When you're up against air, you really need to utilize that. And oh my goodness, not even control K'ing that expansion on the top left here. Hope is in trouble here. He's plotting down many land factories here. He's up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, up to 6 factories currently. 7 and 8 are coming up. He's trying to push out here, but at this point, are these bada booms stronger than shields? He's certainly making it look like it, but there is teleport at this point. Probably a snipe attempt over here, but there's simply too many shields. FoxTermelon is prepared for this, and Hope's army is going to melt. And I would not be surprised to see Hope control K at this point, because this and that is indeed what is going to happen. And FoxTermelon continues to impress. Very solid game 1 against FoxTermelon, going up 1-0 against Hope, and we shall see if he can hold on to that lead in game 2. I will be right back. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to game 2 between FoxTermelon and Hope, and it's so far a very, very good game, very close match here, and that takes us to, of course, the Etched of the Deserts. And Etched Desert we have seen quite a bit, so 35% pick rate and a 49% ban rate. 30-16-50 split between faction picks. I'm really surprised Cybern's not picked quite as often on this map, but maybe that has to do with their win rate, which is a little bit poor on the poorer side. So we have 33% win rate for Cybern, 28-27 for UEF, and 90 for Aeon. So another Aeon map, which begs to differ, well, I guess begs with a question rather, why one of these players has chosen UEF, and I think you know who that player is. Anyway, paused at 5 seconds. Let's go ahead and see if Hope can tie this up and get at least 1 point on our undefeated FoxTermelon. So unpausing in 3, 2, 1, go. And let's introduce our player on the right. Undefeated so far in this league. We have our white Aeon commander, so far not plopping down any factories. There's the air factory. It is FoxTermelon. And his opponent is none other than our orange UEF commander, Hope. Also plopping down 1 air factory. And this is going to be a little bit more of a standard game compared to the one I've done earlier today with Valor and JP, where Valor has done some interesting shenanigans with Cybern. But this is going to be very interesting. Of course, UEF Air is quite a bit stronger, especially early on. And especially with those engineers, both of these players are not producing air as of yet. But that's certainly going to change. Both of these, well, actually, just Hope is putting down his 2nd air factory, but both of them are expanding, and which is definitely a good idea on this map, to grab those expansion points as quickly as possible before there's a significant air concentration to take out those mass extractors and engineers. You really want to set up those bases around the map as quickly as possible. Let's go ahead and increase this game speed to 3 here. As our first scout from Hope is coming out, he's gonna scout out that expanding engineer just to make sure there's no shenanigans going on, like crazy rushes or anything like that, which he's not gonna see this, obviously. Still, well, no, there's 2 planes for FoxTermelon. He just finished building his 2nd air factory. Both his engineers are expanding, but Hope is a little bit going to be in the lead, especially as this game goes on, because of that 3rd engineer that he's constructed. And now you can see the power of UEF Air here. He's already outspamming his opponent here. And well, he did have 2 air factories for a little bit longer, but even then, it is very hard to catch up to your UEF opponent when it comes to trying to spam out air. Now, it is fairly unnecessary, I think, here to scout for FoxTermelon. I think I've been talking about this quite a bit. I think a radar is quite sufficient because on this map, it does take a little bit longer for your opponent to get there. I think the logical progression for your commander would be to go down here to the center. And if you build a radar down here, you can see pretty much everything that your opponent is doing as it concerns land anyhow. So you'll be able to really tell what's happening. Or you can scout a little bit later when it becomes more important for you to know what kind of direction your opponent is taking with his research. Right now, basically what you're scouting for is to see if your opponent has any research stations, which would be indicative of slower play. And of course, I think in that case, FoxTermelon can be a little bit more comfortable going with his air, but now he has to really probably prioritize putting down another air factory, which is why he took back his air force back here, so that he knows he's going to get out spammed at this point. He's seen both of those air factories, and Hope doing a very good job reclaiming that mass, queuing up rather his third air factory. And let us see. So that's exactly what I'm talking about. I think this is a very logical place, maybe a little bit farther up and a little bit farther from the cliffside, so that there's absolutely no chance that MMLs can hit that. But that's exactly what you want to do. And now he sees any land that will be probably coming his way for a very, very long time, which of course is more important to know when you're UEF, I think, because right now he's making nothing but wasps, so you kind of have to account for that, at least getting some bombers or plopping down some land. And there's a fourth air factory queued up for Hope, and he is very much ahead in this advancement. Now, FoxTermelon is going to try and be a little cheeky here with this engineer, but I think Hope should see this on his radar. He has not yet responded, but neither has Fox. Fox hasn't really chosen his target yet, and Hope sees it and just gets the heck out of there. Fourth air factory queued up for FoxTermelon. Unfortunately, of course, UEF is always going to be ahead on that. Control K's wisely that the mass extractors, and this is how you know these players are just amazing at what they do. Structure detonate followed by reclaiming from Fox. Now, unfortunately, if there's some bombers here, this is going to go down. Yeah, there's two bombers, which are going to make quick work of that engineer. Fifth air station or air factory is being queued up by FoxTermelon, and this is where it becomes very, very hard for Aeon if you don't properly expand. Especially forfeiting this engineer over here is kind of a blunder, I think, against the more experienced opponent. I think FoxTermelon could have assumed that this wasn't going to work too well. I mean, he did get some mass, so definitely it was justified the trade of this engineer for a couple mass extractors, a couple mass reclaimed. And what are you giving your opponent in return? Just a little bit of research from killing that engineer. But honestly, forfeiting on the back end, you know, some hidden losses there is, of course, his expansion, which you can argue that he hasn't forfeited that much, but these 4 mass extractors could have given him, you know, 2 more air factories at least here in the foreseeable future. And of course, at a late game, that snowballs into just crazy amounts. This engineer is a little bit in the open. I would be a little concerned. There are shields now for those Weedu bows, which is a very good upgrade. Let's see, our opponent does not have that as of yet, but he is going just straight up spam here. 6 air stations. Now he's going to go into research. I wonder if he's seen that, those shields. There's no shields on those factories, but that's not really a concern right now for Fox, because he knows there's those bombers, but there isn't anywhere near enough for him to be getting sniped at this point. If anything, Fox can snipe at this point, but of course that is always very dangerous, because you don't ever want to take that chance against a good opponent here. Still on 6 factories for Hope, but that 7th one is being queued up. He's not really using his engineers around the map. Where is his engineer on the bottom? Did it get destroyed? Oh no, it's down here. Okay. It's hard to see because of that menu down here. That Air Force for Hope is going to try and make their way around here. Now he's going to scout. He's going to see all this air and probably going to pull back a little bit. Yep, that is definitely a good choice there. However, it might be good to snipe this engineer. I think you can definitely do that, or this engineer. And I'm surprised these players are not supporting themselves with some anti-air. That would be a good choice, especially for FoxTermelon, obviously, because FoxTermelon is Aeon. He can get those flares on his planes, which means that it will be harder for your opponent to utilize anti-air, so it's kind of useless. There's a radar coming out here, which should be killed very quickly by probably like 5 bombers that Hope has in here, just enough to take care of that radar. Is engagement coming. So this is a very important engagement. Let us see how this micro progresses. And of course it's going to be equal here. There are shields on both units, which favors the UEF in this case. There is some veterancy on those units, I believe, on both. Probably, definitely on FoxTermelon's. I'm not sure about Hope. Oh, and this is why you just cannot engage like this without some form of backup as either Cybern or Cybern or Aeon. So unfortunately, FoxTermelon's air does go down. There's I believe 8th and 9th air factories being queued up down here, and now Hope is going to do what he needs to do. He's going to start bombarding. He's going to switch to bombers, at least on some of his factories. Building his 10th factory, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 factories. Meanwhile, FoxTermelon is still on 6. And you can just see, 7. And you can just see that trade-off that he made up here with the engineer. That slower expansion was a result of him not taking that 3rd engineer out of one of those factories is very crucial. This map functions very much like Emerald Crater, in my opinion, to where you really need to expand very quickly. We saw multiple players on that map going expansion very, very heavily with 3, maybe even 4 engineers, which was crazy to see. But it definitely worked out. It was definitely a good plan because it's such a big map. I would love to see something like that on Van Horn and these maps. Now, it could be argued that since these maps are a bit more chokeholdy, I guess, if you want to call it that, it's easier to expand or harder to expand with multiple engineers because there's really only 2 paths on both Van Horn and this map. But your commander should really be moving forward and expanding, and that's why I think this engagement could have been much better if that. Especially as Aeon, when your opponent does not have that many bombers early on, you should really be taking the center of the map so that it's harder for your UEF player to get anywhere. And then you can dance around using your great skills, FoxTermelon, of moving your air around. You can really harass. Like it's becomes very easy to play if you don't sit back like this. And he definitely sat back, and I think that's what's ultimately going to end up losing him this game. I think FoxTermelon is going to try and snipe here. And I wouldn't be surprised if Hope just researches, Honker. And at this point, I think I'm fairly confident FoxTermelon is going to GG here. Apologies for that sound. Yep, loses his air once again. And at this point, I mean, there's absolutely no hope for FoxTermelon coming back. There's nothing as a Aeon air player that you can do at this point. There's no adapters to save you. Harvogs aren't as great at this point. And he's going to lose... Oh! Teleport on those units. That's cute. And don't see that very often. But it is 21st minute, so I would be surprised if he didn't have it. He does have... Wow, 4 research stations. Wow, 5 research stations. That's quite incredible. I'm surprised Hope does not go AC-1Ks at this point. He does go ground and gets some of those mobile missile launchers. Very interesting game, nevertheless. It might have seemed one-sided, and that's, I think, has to do with the overall macro strategy that Fox has chosen. But otherwise, I think it was very, very balanced. Now, I will be really surprised if Hope loses, so I'm going to speed this up to 10. And this is going to be the first loss for FoxTermelon. It's kind of crazy, but that just speaks at how good he has been so far. And honestly, looking at his games, I completely understand it. I don't think it's a coincidence. I think he could have beaten Hope here with maybe a better map pick, or... Because for this strategy, I think there is definitely a better map pick. I don't know what happened here. Did both players just decide to leave? Or did the replay just break? I don't know what happened here. Yeah, I don't know what happened here. I think it's quite clear. Maybe there was a disconnect. I think it was quite clear. Oh my god, there was nukes coming out for Hope. That's cute. I think it's quite clear what's going to happen here. So FoxTermelon does end up going down in game 2. This is a 1-1 draw for Fox and Hope. So that means that's the first points that Fox has lost. let's go ahead and look at the league table here. Now Fox continues to remain near the top of the table, followed very closely by Vanity, who, remember, in the previous season he has it's been a little difficult for him to stay at the top. He actually ended up being, I think, spot number 9 in that league, first league, I don't remember, but anyway, he's doing very good, followed by Magenra Rainbows. Very, very surprising, but Rainbows firmly deserves to be in the top 4. I've been very impressed. And another very big surprise is Blue Train, number 5 there, knocking at Rainbows' door almost. So you can just see how close this table is, even going down to spot number 9. Fortuna is not that far behind J-Wix there. But of course it does start going down for JP Smith, Valor, and Bolt. I mean, even Bolt, like, I don't know how he has 1 point. I think this has been an incredible season. I could not have asked for a better one. We do have 3 more rounds remaining, so I will do my best to give you a replay every week for the upcoming 3 weeks before the tournament. But you can see here the spread between those spot 3 through 8 is just, you know, very, very close. Especially between spot 4 through 8. That is just, you can make top 4 if you are still in that top 8. So even top 9. It's so impressive, just ridiculous. Anyway, I'm gonna stop talking about that. I'm gonna end this replay for you. Hope you enjoyed it. But as always, please do help me out by liking and commenting on this video, and also following me on my channel if you haven't done so already. Also follow Steel Speaks if you haven't. I mean, honestly, I think I get most of my viewers from him, so thank you so much, Steel, for doing that and promoting my channel. He's been posting some of my trailers as well. Check out the trailer that I've made for the new upcoming tournament that's going to be happening at the end of July, and make sure to sign up for the league, the new league season 3, and also the tournament, of course. I am so excited to finish up this year, even though it's only been halfway there. We still have a lot of points up for grabs, so if you haven't participated in one of these events, again, register. There's plenty of points up for grabs. If we get enough players, I might expand the Invitational to 16 players. So at this point, it's up to y'all. Right now, it's only the top 8 still. I think it's going to be determined after this tournament, depending on how many people sign up and who participates. So definitely might be expanded to 16, but we're going to have considerably more players playing. So yeah, participate in your community, guys. Thank you so much, and I hope to